The Chicago White Sox pulled off the impossible from 13 games under 500 in the month of May to scratching and clawing their way to a postseason spot, grabbing one of the AL wild cards in Game 162 of the regular season. But everything we've gone through this year now means nothing. It's an entirely new slate for all 12 teams in the postseason. Everybody's at 0, and now it's a free-for-all. Every man, every team for themselves. Today we're going to get through the wild card round against the number 4 seed Kansas City Royals on the road at Kauffman Stadium, which should certainly be a lot of fun. Last episode we went through the second half of September, our final 4 series. I said we need to go at least 8-4 to grab a playoff spot, and while things started off rough, we opened 0-2. After that, we went 9-1 to finish things off. I really thought it was a 3-way race for 2 postseason spots between us, Kansas City, and Cleveland, but all 3 of us ended up making the playoffs. It was actually Seattle who blew it at the end of the year and missed out. Over their last few games, they lost 2 of 3 against the Royals. They lost 2 of 3 against a not-so-good Astros team. They lost 2 of 3 against the Rockies, which is quite bad. And then they got swept by the Los Angeles Dodgers. So the ultra-exciting race with all those American League Central teams ended with everybody making the postseason. The Red Sox win the East. The Tigers win the Central. The Rangers win the West. The 3 division winners all finishing within 2 games of each other, but it will be Texas and Detroit who get byes. We will play Kansas City while Cleveland will face off against the Red Sox at Fenway in the first round. Mets win the East. The NL Central was chaotic just like our division. The Brewers end up taking it with the Pirates and the Cubs making it in as wild cards. Cincinnati misses out by 1 game. And then the NL West, the 2 best teams in baseball by record, the 101-win Giants and the 99-win Dodgers. The Dodgers getting second place in the division, they're only the 4 seed, so they have to play a wild card round against the Pirates in the first round. Here's another look at our stats to end the year. You'll notice there have been some rating changes for many of the guys on our team. I have completed my rating changes across the league to try and more so accurately reflect how good these guys were this year. Obviously, it's more than just a 1-year sample for a lot of these guys, but to allow for more change, for more improvement for young guys who maybe broke out, or maybe for older players like Mike Trout, for instance, whose ratings regressed, but he certainly didn't play worse. He had one of the best seasons of the last decade for himself individually. I don't want to say his career because he had so many elite seasons with the Angels. But on the flip side, when we have guys who maybe don't necessarily meet the expectation, they are going to ultimately go down. Look at a guy like Cam Smith, who was inconsistent throughout the year, never really hit for a high average. His contact went down quite a bit further than the game would have had anyways. We've got to make some decisions in terms of the postseason roster, and we do have some tough choices in terms of injury. We know Kyle Teal will not be healthy for this series, but I'm still keeping him on the roster off the injured list just so I can be flexible with him in case he is healthy. And then Barney Wagner got dinged up in Game 162 against the Nationals. We are going to keep him on the postseason roster, ultimately leaving these guys out. The surprises here, I guess, would be Yuri Perez and Hagen Smith. But since it's only a best of 3 against the Royals, we only need 3 starting pitchers. So I wanted to maximize on the amount of relievers and position players we could have. The lineups against lefties and righties look very similar. For now, Barney Wagner not included, but obviously we're hoping to get him back out there as soon as possible. Barney's been outstanding over the last couple of months. He's turned into an everyday player and then some for us. He finished with a WAR above 4. His defense was a lot better than I expected, and his homer in Game 162 against the Nationals cemented his Rookie of the Year victory, which is very exciting. The 3rd time in the last 4 years we've had a Rookie of the Year winner, with Shane Schmidt last year and Edgar Caro in 2027. Kyle Teal, again, he's not going to be healthy this series, and there's a good chance he's not healthy at all during the playoffs. If we survive, knock on wood, and we make it into the ALCS, and it still says he's out for 1 to 2 months, then that'll be pretty telling that there's no way he could come back during the World Series, and at that point, I would probably just put him on the injured list and give his roster spot to somebody else. Obviously, we want him at some point, given that he was our best player last year in the postseason. In terms of the pitching, Framber Valdez will start in Game 1. Hayden Wesneski will go in Game 2. And if necessary for a Game 3, it'll be Noah Schultz. Noah has kind of become our number 2 guy over Wisniewski. That's certainly the case in terms of rating. Schultz got a nice boost. Wisniewski went down, but Schultz just pitched in game 162, and he did that with only 3 full days rest. If he were to start a theoretical game 3 against Kansas City, that again would only be 3 full days of rest. So I do want to be cautious with him, but there's a real shot that we might need him for an elimination game that Thursday, and I certainly trust him more than any of the alternatives. Let's look at the Royals, the 5th ranked team in the game. These guys I think are going to be really good for a while. They finished 4th in batting average, the best in the American League. We, for reference, finished in 8th, which is honestly impressive given that we were in dead last for 2 months. In terms of home runs, they're towards the middle where we are in 2nd. Walks, they're towards the middle, whereas we finished in 4th, and the highest mark in the American League. They had the 3rd least amount of strikeouts, while we are at roughly 12th. In terms of slugging percentage, they're in 7th. We're in 3rd. So 2 teams who can really hit for power, not just home run power, but doubles and triples. We're both towards the middle. In terms of errors, I think they had 61. We had 63. They're 10th in ERA. We are in 3rd at 3.78. That's very impressive, even though our pitching staff was wildly inconsistent. They're 9th in hits allowed, we're in 7th. So basically right next to each other. In terms of runs allowed, we're tied, 666. I guess us 2 and the Red Sox are all the devil. Okay, I don't know how I feel about that. In terms of earned runs, they're 9th. We're tied for 4th. A lot of unearned runs from us. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. We allowed 189 homers. They allowed 190. They're top 10 in walks allowed, whereas we are in 12th. However, the big difference is strikeouts. They had the 2nd least. We had the 2nd most. Highest in the American League for us, lowest in the American League for the Royals, but they had the higher winning percentage. They won 2 more games than us this season. We struggled against Kansas City earlier in the year. Our first matchup, we had 4 games against them, only winning once. Lost the first one 8-12. We won the second one, but those last 3 games, nobody could really hit the ball. Then at home in June, we only won 1, but we certainly rebounded later in the year. In August, we went 5-1 against them. We swept them at Kauffman, including this game that we played, and won 15-10. Yeah, the score tells you exactly what you need to know. We had 23 base runners and 16 hits, including 6 home runs. Yuri Perez struggled. Mitch Keller got the start for the Royals. He struggled. It was certainly a fun game to be a part of, with 25 total runs being scored. And then we played them just a couple weeks later at home. We ended up winning 2 of 3. So pretty even with the Royals throughout the course of the year. They have been up and down over the last couple of weeks. They haven't really played against the best of competition. They swept the Phillies, who suck. Won 2 of 3 against Seattle. That's nice. But they swept Toronto. Toronto's not that good. And then 3-3 over their last 6 against the Angels and the Athletics, neither of whom are very impressive. As we look at this team, they've got a lot of young talent. Roger Lerma made the All-Star team at just 21 years old. He's turning into a really good young piece for them. Bobby Witt Jr. is now 29 years old, 6-time All-Star, just won a Silver Slugger this year. I mean, he's awesome. He's one of the best players in baseball. There's not much that needs to be said about him. Second highest OPS of his career, second highest WAR of his career, so he's playing some of his best baseball. Remember, Sean Rose is a guy who we wanted to draft all the way in year number 2. He ended up going 1 pick before us. We drafted Martin Burt instead, who has since bounced around a little bit, but has found a home with the Angels and nearly won the Rookie of the Year, only behind Barney Wagner. Rose has a lot of limitations as a player, but he hit nearly 40 homers. He doesn't really hit for average. He doesn't draw walks. He is a very good defensive player, though. They only have him playing DH, at least against righties, which is odd. I get that their infield defense is awesome, but I feel like you got to find a spot for him on the field. They've got a good group of veterans as well. Jordan Westbrook, Jackson Merrill, BJ Murray, all very, very solid. And then in terms of pitching, like us, they've got a 3-headed monster at the top of the rotation, built to win a 3-game series. Mitch Keller will start in Game 1. We saw him last year in the World Series with the Phillies. He's great. His numbers are a little lower this year, but he's still one of the best arms in the league, finishing with at least a 3.5 WAR in each of the last 4 years. Maybe the only pitcher in this series to have done that. Cody Bradford will start in Game 2 in his first year with the Kansas City Royals, signed a 4-year deal for nearly $120 million in the offseason. He's proven to be really solid for a while, and he's pitched in some big games with the Rangers. And then if we get to a Game 3, a familiar face, Lucas Giolito, the former White Sox, who's had a late career revival with San Diego mainly, but he's now with the Royals. He's still playing quite well. Of course, the White Sox traded him nearly a decade ago at this point to the Angels in a deal that, of course, worked out pretty well for Chicago. It got us back some prospects, including Edgar Caro. We won't probably have to see Tommy Henry or Kerry Yu, who are kind of the question marks in their rotation. Bullpen has some intriguing names. The former White Sox, Enoli Paredes, who was here during the dark ages. They added Brandon Williamson at the deadline. They got Gregory Santos at the deadline. And then Miguel Lozano, a high draft pick back in year number 1. 4 full seasons, 4 All-Star appearances. I really thought him and Ezra Valenzuela would be competing, making the All-Star game every year. Obviously, Ezra had other plans this season. Instead of making the All-Star team, he got demoted to the minor leagues. They will be without Ryan Pepiot, who normally would be their number 2 starter. I think this would be a much bigger deal if it was a 5 or 7 game series. Obviously, he's really good, and they would certainly rather have him, but they still have Cody Bradford and Lucas Giolito who can start in games 2 and 3. And given that it is a 3-game series, it's not like they have a weaker arm starting for them. Now, if they beat us and move on to the ALDS, then I'd be a little bit more worried about the possibility of Ryan Pepiot missing the whole series. But since it's a 3-game set and they have 3 really good starters, I don't think it'll be that big of a deal for them. I think our injuries with Kyle Teal and the uncertainty of Barney Wagner's status are probably going to be much bigger of a deal. So here we are, Game 1 in Kansas City. The winner of this series will play against the top-seeded 94-68 Texas Rangers. Couple of inter-division rivals. The Royals 88-74, the White Sox 86-76. Chicago needing all 162 games to make the playoffs. It's honestly a miracle we got here, though. We were goofing around the first 2 months of the year. We knew it was going to be an uphill battle, and we continued to fight. We played well into the summer, well enough to buy at the trade deadline. Really didn't play all that well through August and early September, but when we needed to win some games late in the year, we were down by 2-3 games with around a week to go, but we won 9 of our last 10. We're one of the hottest teams in baseball, and we are peaking at seemingly the right time. Remember last year in the postseason, we played almost the maximum amount of games possible. We didn't play in the wild card round, but we needed a full 5-game series in the first round and then 7-game sets for the ALCS and the World Series. As we take a look at both lineups, no Barney Wagner here in Game 1 for Chicago. Mitch Keller on the bump for the Royals. He's got a lot of postseason experience. Helped the Phillies win the World Series over each of the last 2 years, including multiple starts against us in the Fall Classic a season ago. His former teammate of the Phillies, Justin Crawford, leads us off. Goes down looking. That pitch did not look like a strike. But okay then. Crawford goes down, the 2-time champ. Edgar Caro hits this ball a mile into the air, deep into right field, but that one is caught. A 1-2-3 inning as Hunter Bishop comes down with it, and Mitch Keller retires the side. We'll go to the bottom of the first, where it'll be the ace of the staff, Framber Valdez, who's also pitched in a lot of big games, mainly with the Astros. He won a World Series there in 2022. A couple of Cy Youngs in this series in 2025 and 29. He was a little shaky during the month of August, but he's looked a lot more like himself in September. Bobby Witt Jr., 2 away, single into center field, and Kansas City gets a runner on. We'll see if they can take advantage and try to strike early here in Game 1. Jordan Westburg, signed from the Orioles, had a great year with the Royals. Gets that one by Schmidt. And Bobby Witt's got 99 speed. He'll make it over to third, and all of a sudden, this first inning has just got real interesting. With 2 outs, the Royals now have runners on the corners and a huge opportunity to strike early. B.J. Murray ahead in the count, 3-1. This one is lofted into right. Dane Myers is under it, and he will make the play. I feel confident with the group of guys we have out there. I think this is right now our best 9 players, or at least our best 9 healthy players with no Kyle Teal or Barney Wagner. Let's move into the second. Here's Shane Schmidt. Inconsistent season, but has been awesome as of late. In the opposite field for a base hit. Schmidt with over 60 home runs in his big league career at just 19 years old. He's on an ultra-impressive pace, even though he was not great for the first 4.5 months of the year. Mike Trout rips this one into right center field. 38 years old, not very experienced in the postseason. We're going to hold Schmidt at third. He probably would have been safe. It would have been really close. I think with nobody out, it's not worth the risk. I would like to think we can score him. Nonetheless, a double for Trout. Smith lines out to right. We're not going to send the runner. So now with 1 away, I'm getting a little bit more worried about Schmidt at third. We need something here from Dane Myers. Not a strikeout. Well, it's not a strikeout, but We don't score him. It's a ground out to first. Villalobos tags the base. And now we kind of need a base hit to get that runner in. It's Oswaldo Escobedo who looks at the sinker. Waldo, throughout his career, has sucked in big, high-leverage spots, but this year he's gotten a lot better. Thought about it. Pulls back. Thank goodness. Count is now full. Walks certainly would be more than fine here to load the bases. The 3-2. This one is blooped into left. It's got a chance. No, Bobby Witt comes down with it. And that would have been ball 4 if you let it go. We had 2 runners in scoring position with nobody out. No reason to think we can't score anybody. And we got nothing. In a 3-game series like this to decide our season, we don't exactly have a lot of margin for error. So that's a big deal that we did not score anybody there. Nico Horner with one away, slices it into center for a hit. The Royals are hitting pretty decent off of Framber Valdez so far. They've already got a few base knocks up to this point. We'll see at the bottom of the order can bring him in. Horner digs for second. The throw from Caro is offline. Not in time. Part of the challenge of not having Kyle Teal is that Edgar Caro's probably going to have to catch every day. And being able to switch him and Teal out behind the plate was a really nice dynamic that we lose the luxury of. A walk for Bishop. 2 on, 2 away, back to the top of the order. Roger Lerma, his first career postseason game. Man, that was the pitch. Curveball. Really a meatball right down the middle, and he lets it go. Count is now even 2-2. Valdez looking to get out of the inning as Lerma fouls it off, keeping the at-bat and the inning alive. We left 2 runners on base in the top half of the inning. Could the Royals do the same? Lerma lets that one go. Valdez wasting that pitch. And the count is now full with Julian Villalobos, who hits for great contact against lefties on deck. Lerma fouls another one off. This has not been an easy at-bat. 21-year-old at the plate, 36-year-old on the mound. These guys are dueling. A lot of postseason experience versus none. Lerma draws a walk, and the bases are loaded. Valdez has let up 5 runners in the first 2 innings, and now it's Villalobos who gets the big opportunity to strike. Up the middle, Escobedo makes the play, throw to first, in time, and the Royals leave them loaded. That's 5 base runners left on in just the first 2 innings. For Kansas City, we move into the 3rd. Daniel Schneemann goes down looking. That pitch had filthy movement. Great job by Mitch Keller for the first out of the inning. Justin Crawford now. That is a good take. That is a really good take. Lets the fastball go by. Count is now full. 3-2 on the way with 1 gone for Crawford. Okay, but that's a strike. The previous pitch, I kind of get if you called him out. But that one, that's crazy. Corey Julks, 1-1. He grounds this one over to second. Horner makes the play. 1-2-3 inning. I think we kind of got screwed over by that call with Crawford. They should have let him draw the walk. But it remains scoreless. We go bottom 3. The Royals have not gotten anybody home, but they've gotten a lot of base runners. It does kind of feel like they're due. Framber Valdez has not looked himself. I get he hasn't allowed any runs yet, but he has not pitched great. That's the 3rd walk he's let up in the last 4 at-bats. This time it's Bobby Witt Jr., the last guy we want to give a free pass to. Jordan Westberg singles into right. Again, he's 2 for 2. Bobby Witt over to 3rd. There's runners on the corners with no outs. That's now 7 base runners that Valdez has already let up today. At what point do we take him out of the game, maybe? B.J. Murray on the ground. Waldo gets it to Schneemann over to first, a double play. But the run scores. I decided to turn 2 rather than go home. I knew there was a possibility we would have to make a big decision on the ground. And I briefly thought about going home, but I figured Bobby Witt is 99 speed. He's probably going to be safe. Let's get the 2 outs. Let's reset the situation. Yeah, the Royals score, but it could be worse. And now the bases are empty. Agustin Ramiro up the middle, another hit. I get they only have 1 run, but man, Framber Valdez does not look good. That was a really bad throw. Holy moly. Framber Valdez is not pitching like himself. So we might have to make an aggressive decision given that we don't have margin for error and it's a big postseason series. Horner grounds out to Schneemann. Royals get a run. They leave a runner on. Valdez has allowed 3 hits and 5 walks. Kansas City has left 6 guys stranded on base. I mean, credit to Valdez for getting us out of some tough spots, but he's also the reason why we're in these tough spots. We'll move into the 4th. 1 away for Shane Schmidt. Sends a rocket into right center field. at the track, at the wall. It is gone! And the White Sox tie it at 1. Shane Schmidt, 410 feet, sends it into the seats. He homered 33 times in the regular season. Now gets his first of the postseason. It was a weird season for Schmidt. I mean, he was barely hitting 200 for 4 months, but over the last really month and a half, he's been one of the best hitters in the league, and he has gotten better and better and better. Really, as the month of September has gone through, and now I'm really curious to see how he looks in October, given that he really struggled in the postseason. He was largely unplayable. He homered in the World Series, but overall was not very good. But he's got another year of postseason experience, and we need him. He's one of our best players at this point. He's not going to sit out like he did last year as Mike Trout goes down looking. Cam Smith now 3-2, 2 away. Sends this one into right. That one is caught. Good inning, though. We're on the board. Solo homer for Shane Schmidt. This game is tied at 1. The Royals, you could argue, are totally outplaying us. They've gotten way more base runners. They've gotten, I think, 8. We've gotten 3. Yet the game is tied. That's how baseball is. We'll go bottom 4. Jackson Merrill leads off the inning. Valdez stays in the game. Merrill up the middle, another base hit. This is getting out of hand. Valdez has faced off against 17 batters. 9 of them have gotten on base. 6 hits, 3 walks. We've got to take him out. If it was a regular season game, I'd probably trust him because he's really good, and it's just a regular season game. But it's the postseason. We cannot afford to lose. We've got to be aggressive. I know it's a little risky handing this game to the right arm of Ezra Valenzuela, but Valdez is not doing well. We need a guy who can give us some innings. Obviously, it was a really disappointing year for Ezra. He certainly took a hit in terms of his ratings. He went down like 2 or 3 overall points. But he has pitched well over the last couple of weeks, so I'm hopeful that that can lead to the turnaround. Good start. Hunter Bishop goes down on the curveball. First punch out of the game for Ezra. Now Roger Lerma. Runner goes for second. He's safe. And so the Royals now have a man in scoring position. Big opportunity here with the top of the order up. It's Roger Lerma. Count is even, 2-2. What's Ezra going to do here? Is he going to look outside? Got him on the fastball at 97. 2 up, 2 down. So far, pretty good start for Ezra Valenzuela. Now it's Julian Villalobos, who grounded out with the bases loaded his last time up. Flies it into right. Myers is under it. The Royals leave yet another runner on base. Credit to Ezra Valenzuela coming in out of the bullpen. 1-2-3. Does not let the runner score. Framber Valdez, 3 innings, 1 earned run allowed. His ERA for the game is 3. His whip for the game is also 3. That is one of the more strange stat lines you'll see. We'll move into the 5th. Demon Schneeman goes down looking. It's been a lot more smooth sailing for Mitch Keller. Even though the game is tied, there's been obviously a noticeable difference with the 2 pitchers. Keller's pitching a great game right now. Bottom 5, Ezra stays in. Bobby Witt Jr. goes down on the fastball, reached base in both of his appearances, and is so far the only Royal to have scored. B.J. Murray now up for Kansas City with 2 away. Got him on the fastball. Ezra Valenzuela looks great so far. 6 up, 6 down. Where was this guy in the regular season? I mean, if you're going to choose to play well, I'd rather it now in the postseason than, say, in, like, July. We'll see if he can keep it going. We're going to keep him out there for the 6th. Edgar Caro into the opposite field, base hit. That's our first base runner since the homer by Shane Schmidt back in the 4th. It's been a while. We really haven't gotten many guys on base. The total opposite is Kansas City. Shane Schmidt, that's a good take. Count is now full. Normally, we're the team who sucks with guys on base, but this time around, that's what Kansas City's doing. It's like a taste of their own medicine. Schmidt grounds it foul. That could have been an extra base hit. Could have also been a ground out. Villalobos almost had that one. But the at-bat continues. 3-2, 2 away. Got him looking on the fastball. That's a killer. 6 innings of 1-run ball for Mitch Keller, the ace of the staff, living up to his title. We'll go bottom 6. As I said a moment ago, we're rocking with Ezra, man. He looks great. Horner swings at a pitch way out of the zone. These guys just look fooled at the plate. This is not the Ezra Valenzuela we saw at all in the regular season. He looks entirely rejuvenated. Merrill flies it into right center. Crawford is under it. 9 up, 9 down. Ezra Valenzuela is single-handedly keeping us in the game. The problem is the offense has given us nothing. We have 4 hits. I don't think we've gotten any walks. We're not doing enough at the plate. Luckily, Mitch Keller's night is over. 6 innings of 1-run ball, so the Royals are going to go to the bullpen. They do have a few really good arms, couple of big additions at the trade deadline, including this guy, Gregory Santos, the former White Sox, who was here well before the series started. 2.9 ERA, spent most of this season in Toronto with the Blue Jays. 3-2 for Mike Trout. There's our first walk of the game. Trout reaches for the second time tonight, and so he is aboard to start the inning. Big opportunity to strike. 3-1 for Cam Smith. That one is a dribbler up the middle. Bobby Witt Jr., what a play. The throw to first, not in time. Everybody is safe. But as Trout slid into second, he completely messed up his leg, and there's a chance that he broke it. The crazy part is he didn't even need to slide. The second baseman was not covering second. He could have just walked in there with no problem, but no. He had to completely mess up his leg and probably suffer a season-ending injury. I mean, that is just brutal for a guy who's barely gotten to play in the postseason. This was his chance, and now he's not going to get it, probably. Brian Ramos will replace him at second base. He's the fastest guy we have on the bench. Dane Myers up the middle. This could be 2. To second for 1. No, they only get 1. Good hustle by Dane Myers, and so there's now runners on the corners with 1 away. We've got to get this runner in. That one gets away from the catcher, Rayumo. We're going to send Ramos. Play at the plate is not in time. A wild pitch. Ramos is safe, and the White Sox lead it 2-1. An unconventional way of getting the run across, but we will gladly take it. The Royals shoot themselves in the foot. A back-breaking mistake from Gregory Santos and Agustin Rayumo. And we're now ahead with a chance for more. Oswaldo Escobedo hits this ball well in the right center field. Not well enough as it is caught. We will look to move Dane Myers up to third. We got him over to second on the wild pitch as well. So now we've got a runner 90 feet away from home with 2 away for Daniel Schneemann, who goes down on the circle change. Well, that was an eventful inning. We scored a run. We take the lead. But Mike Trout also probably broke his leg. So I don't really know how to feel about that. But we're now ahead. We're rocking with Ezra. He's going to stay in the game for a 4th inning. Bishop swings at a ball again. He's got all of these batters fooled. They're either not putting the bat to the ball or they're swinging at bad pitches. This is unbelievable. I've never seen him look this dialed in. Lerma, fly out into left. Julks is under it, makes the play. I mean, he is just unhittable right now. Ezra Valenzuela is single-handedly winning us this game. Villalobos goes down on the fastball. Another 1-2-3 inning for Ezra Valenzuela. 4 innings, 0 hits, 0 walks. Unbelievable. He was bad in the regular season, but here in the postseason, he just pitched the best game of his career. Wow. Cannot imagine he will stay in for the 8th. 4 innings is, I believe, his career high. Brandon Williamson in for the Royals. We got to see Mitch Keller, who they got at the trade deadline. Gregory Santos, they got at the deadline. And then Brandon Williamson, they also added this year at the deadline from the Reds, as he gets Crawford on the sweeper. I wonder if the Reds regret trading him, because they only missed the playoffs by 1 game. If they had Brandon Williamson in their bullpen, they probably make it in over Chicago or Pittsburgh. Corey Julks, base hit into right field, so we've got another runner on here with 1 away. I think the Royals' bullpen overall has been a little bit more sloppy than Mitch Keller. Obviously, the inning from Santos was kind of rough. Williamson now lets up a runner. Wow, that was a great pitch, though. Holy cow. Edgar Caro gets made look like a fool. That'll bring up Shane Schmidt. He's had a great game. 2 for 3, homered back in the 4th. 2-2. Good take. Cutter outside. Count is now full with Brian Ramos on deck, who entered the game as a pinch runner in the last inning and scored, as that one is outside for ball 4. He does not want to throw a strike to Shane Schmidt, and honestly, I don't blame him. So now that'll bring up Brian Ramos, who struggles against lefties, but we don't really have many other choices. Off the bench, he goes down on the cutter. What a pitch. That was like at his face. I thought it was going to curve down, and it was going to be a hanging pitch right down the middle that we were just going to clobber. Not even close. Completely misread it. Excellent movement by Williamson as we go bottom 8. Brian King, 1.99 ERA, the lowest of any of the pitchers on the staff this year. Had an outstanding season out of the bullpen, coming over in a trade from the Astros for third baseman Cody Hosey. As Bobby Witt Jr. goes down looking, Jordan Westburg has a couple of hits. Swing and a miss, though, on the sinker. Nice pitch by King, who's picking up right where Ezra Valenzuela left off. The bullpen has not let up a base runner today. BJ Murray, count is even, 2-2. Pitch from King. Swing and a miss on the fastball. Brian King strikes out the side. We move into the 9th. We're up 2-1. We're in a pretty good spot. Let's see if we can hold on. We've got the rookie Bruno Merced warming up in the bullpen, ready for the save. It'd be his first postseason appearance, so because of that, I kind of want to add some insurance. It'll be against Trevor Stephan, 3.61 ERA. Whip only at 1.05, though. Very solid. Cam Smith draws a walk. We've done a better job over the last few innings in terms of the plate discipline, minus Brian Ramos in the last inning. We don't have to talk about that. Schneemann, 3-1, hits it pretty well into the opposite field. That one, however, will be caught. So it's 2-1 going into the 9th. Our offense only with 2 runs through 9 innings today. That is not very good. 6, 7, 8. Raimo, Horner, Merrill up for the Royals against Bruno Merced, the rookie closer who threw over 100 innings, 2.68 ERA, 1.12 whip. He's only 6 of 10 in save opportunities. I feel like whoever we've had as the closer this year, they've done worse as the closer than whatever other role they had. But Merced is the reliever I trust the most right now. I think he's been the most consistent. Raimo to short. Schneemann there is 1. In an ideal world, Ezra Valenzuela will take the closer role back at some point. But right now, Merced feels like the guy. Horner grounds it to Schmidt. There's 2. So far, so good for the rookie in his postseason debut. One of the few players on the roster who's never played in the playoffs, as it comes down to Jackson Merrill, the former Padre, the former Marlin. Very similar career path to Dane Myers, who also played for both of those teams. The 1-1, that pitch is fouled away, and the Royals are down to their final strike here in Game 1. The White Sox looking to set the tone, take a 1-0 series lead. The 1-2 for Merrill. Merced looking to retire the side. The rookie from the Dominican Republic, as that one is fouled away. Good pitch. Curveball out of the zone. Merrill feels like he has to protect. Actually, that might have been in. Wow, that was a really good pitch. Holy cow. 1-2. Back to the curveball on the ground. Hit well. Waldo makes the play. And the White Sox win Game 1 by the final score of 2-1. A pitching duel. Not so much between the starters, though. Framber Valdez, in 3 innings, allowed only 1 run, but he let up 9 base runners, 6 hits, 3 walks. Bullpen comes in. They face off against 18 batters. The Royals went 0 for 18. They did not get a walk, a hit, nothing. No base runners through 6 innings against the bullpen. Dominance. Ezra Valenzuela leads the way. He gets the game ball. He was by far the best player on the field today. Ezra Valenzuela coming out of the bullpen to throw 4 innings. That won us the game. Without that, we probably would not have won. Obviously, I see Ezra Valenzuela as a closer. Or maybe a starter. Who knows? But I don't see him as an innings eater who enters the game in the 4th inning. That's exactly what he did today, and he was terrific. He struck out 5. Valdez, for what it's worth, struck out 0. All the signs were there that Framber Valdez just did not have his best stuff. We go to Ezra. He was awesome. Now, the offense is going to be better. Only 2 runs, 6 hits, 3 walks. And we do get the worst case scenario for Mike Trout. He broke his leg. That sucks. Mike Trout has played in the postseason in this series with the Orioles, but he hasn't played much. For a 38-year-old who's never really gotten the chance, that just blows. We're going to call up Braden Montgomery. It seems like a strange decision. He was really bad this year. He hasn't played in the big leagues since, I think, April. But we need another outfielder, and I think he's the one I trust the most. For Trout, his season likely comes to an end. A spark plug for us. We signed him out of free agency in April. He was unbelievable for us. 22 homers in just 83 games. He turned back the clock and was one of the biggest reasons why we got here to begin with. But that is yet another player we'll be without. Kyle Teal, Barney Wagner, and Mike Trout are 3 of the best hitters on the team. They are all injured. We've got to make some tough decisions, though, with Barney Wagner because it's a minor enough injury to where he could possibly play. So it's something we're going to have to potentially weigh going into Game 2 and potentially a Game 3, again, if it gets to that point. White Sox looking to complete the sweep and go to Texas to play against the Rangers after winning the first game 2-1 in a low-scoring pitching duel where every pitcher dueled except for Framber Valdez. Let's take a look at the White Sox lineup. There will be no Barney Wagner, but he is available in case we need him. Had we lost Game 1, I think I would have started him. Braden Montgomery will actually start, oddly enough, even though he hasn't played in a game since like April. Here's Cody Bradford looking to keep the season alive for the Royals. 3.63 ERA, 1.19 whip. Not as good as he's been with the Rangers, but still very solid. Looking for the opportunity to potentially face off against his former team. Against Crawford, swing and a miss on the 12-6 curve. Good start for Cody Bradford to open up the frame. Shane Schmidt homered in the last game. Rips that one nearly 120. Off the bat, it goes for a single. Another base knock for Schmidt. He got on base 3 of his 4 plate appearances in the first game with a double, a homer, and a walk. Edgar Caro goes down on the circle change. Today we've got Caro hitting behind Schmidt. In the first game, we had Caro in front. We get a hit, but nothing more. Scoreless going into the bottom of the first, where it'll be Hayden Wisniewski getting the start. I feel like Noah Schultz is kind of the number 2. I feel like I trust him more right now than Wisniewski. But, again, Noah Schultz just pitched not even 3 full days ago. So it will be Wisniewski, who's had some really good seasons for us. Not his best this year, but not horrible. 4.07 ERA, 1.13 whip. Very average, which is not what he's been over the last few years, but still certainly doable for the playoffs. And he was really good in the playoffs last year, minus the home runs, as Roger Lerma grounds out. His whip in the postseason last year was like .7, but his ERA was in the mid-3s. Half of his base runners were homers. Nice play there by Schmidt, grabbing the liner from Nico Horner for the second out. Bobby Witt Jr. now up for Kansas City. 2-2 on the way, and this one is ripped into left field. Myers after it. He will not make the play. That ball rolls to the wall, 2-out double. And again, this is the last guy we want on base with his 99 speed. If this ball is on the ground in the outfield, he is scoring. Sean Rose hitting in the cleanup spot today. We did not see him in Game 1, as this one is foul. Wow, that was close. Rose did not play in the first game because he's not very good against lefties. And if there is a Game 3, I guess he wouldn't play again because it would be Noah Schultz. Rose looks at that one. Good take. Count is now full. Rose's on-base percentage was below 300, but his slugging was over 500. That's how much power this guy can hit for. This one is hit high and pretty deep and a right. Braden Montgomery is under it, and he will make the play. I really don't know how I feel about the Braden Montgomery experiment, but I wanted a good defender in the outfield, and he's a guy I've liked playing with, even though he's been kind of sucky for the last almost 2 years at this point. He did nothing this year. He wasn't even that good in AAA. We'll move into the top of the second. Here's Cam Smith. Got him looking! Last year, the umpires gave us all the calls behind the plate in the playoffs. This year, I feel like we're getting none of them. All these borderlines are getting called against us. Dan Myers singles into center. A base runner here for Chicago. Okay, here's a nice opportunity here with 2 away. Potentially score a run. Put ourselves on the board. Waldo is the one who will get the opportunity. He was quiet offensively in Game 1. He's ahead 3-1, but he pops it up into foul territory. B.J. Murray is under it. He will make the play. Not a bad start for Cody Bradford. He's allowed a couple of base runners, but really no major damage done yet. We'll go bottom 2. Jordan Westburg is up, and he gets a hold of this ball into left field. That baby is out of here. 405 feet. The Royals are on the board first. They lead Game 2 1-0. 405 for Westburg. Exit velo of nearly 110. Westburg was impressive in the opening game despite the loss. And here he is, quickly getting active in Game 2. A much-needed start for a Royals offense who needed to show some form of life after that disastrous showing in the final 6 innings of Game 1. They're clearly not done. Jackson Merrill into right center field. That one will one-hop off the wall. Merrill makes about 3. He'll hold at 2. A leadoff double, though, and he's quite fast, 85 speed. Now in scoring position with nobody out and a great chance to add to the lead. B.J. Murray, 1-2 up the middle, single into center field. Runner around third. The throw from Crawford, not in time. Jackson Merrill is safe, and the Royals lead it 2-0. A great start for Kansas City. Blake Mitchell, 1-2, grounder to third. Smith, Julks, Schmidt, double play. I love how Julks was all herky-jerky. I feel like he reacted late to second, and then Shane Schmidt just looks so nonchalant at first base. Gavin Cross with a liner to short. Schneemann catches it with the backhand. Royals score a pair. Westberg with a homer. Murray with an RBI single. A 2-0 lead for the Royals. We'll move into the third. Given our offense's struggles in the first game, already being down by 2 obviously is not ideal. But I do trust these guys to make some things work. Crawford with an early walk. Schmidt gets hit. So now 2 on, 2 away. They really do not want to throw strikes to Shane Schmidt. Big opportunity for Edgar Caro, who was better against right-handers than lefties this year. Obviously a switch hitter who's regularly even against the two sides. He pops it up. Murray will make the play, and that'll get us through the third. 2 runners left on base for Chicago. Not ideal when there's not a lot of margin for error. That's the reason why the Royals lost the first game, because they left too many guys on early and then didn't get any the last 6 innings. Roger Lerma leads off the bottom of the third. He goes down looking on the circle change. No movement in the bullpen yet. We'll be aggressive if we need to, but I don't want to take Wisniewski out early because unlike Game 1, we're not going to have Ezra Valenzuela available. He just threw 4 innings yesterday. That one is caught in right by BMO off the bat of Bobby Witt Jr. We need Wisniewski to get us through the 5th or 6th inning. We cannot take him out early like we did with Framber Valdez because, again, we don't have Ezra Valenzuela to bail us out. We could theoretically throw in a Bryce Wilson or a Jagger Haynes, but I don't believe in those guys like I do Ezra. Cam Smith strikes out, 2 away. Dane Myers behind 1-2. Swing and a miss on the high fastball. Cody Bradford is looking phenomenal so far. Biggest game of the year for the Royals. Their season's on the line. Talk about rising up to the moment, at least so far through 4 innings, as we'll go bottom 4. Wisniewski really starting to settle in. Merrill on the ground, gets by the third baseman and the shortstop for a single into left field. I figured at least one of them was going to get it, but unfortunately it doesn't happen. So now there's a runner on base, 2 away. B.J. Murray, who drove in a run back in the second, draws a walk. And now Hayden Wisniewski is starting to look sloppy again. Something I've noticed with Wisniewski is that he's not striking anybody out, just like Framber Valdez in the first game. We were second in the American League in strikeouts, and our starters are not getting any swing and miss stuff at all, as that one is caught in left field by Myers. So Wisniewski does get out of the jam, and I do feel better about the way he's pitched compared to Valdez. He's not allowing nearly as many base runners. 5 hits, only 1 walk, but just 1 strikeout. I don't know where the whiffs are. Now, Ezra had 5, and Brian King struck out the side in the bottom of the 8th inning of the first game, but these starters are not generating any whiffs. Waldo to short. Bobby Witt from the backhand with ease. As good as Bobby Witt is offensively, and boy is he good, Silver Slugger this year, he's even better defensively. Braden Montgomery goes down looking. 7 punch-outs for Cody Bradford. And Bradford is a guy who does not strike guys out. That's his weakness. But he's got 7. That's 6 more than Wisniewski. A 6-7 strikeout difference is kind of the big deal. Crawford flies out to center. That'll wrap up the top of the 5th. 2 hits, no runs, not acceptable. Our offense is not producing so far in this series at all. We haven't scored since the 7th inning of the first game. This one is in the air with 2 away off the bat of Horner. Crawford is under. It'll make the play. Hayden Wisniewski's doing exactly what we needed him to. I said that he's got to get us through 5 or 6 innings. We're through 5. I think we're going to try for 1 more. He's pitched well enough over the last few. Got a little rocky in the 4th. But I think he's really settled in, and he's looking a lot more comfortable than he did early. Enoli Paredes, the former White Sox, is in here in the 6th. Paredes in my city. His numbers are kind of weird. He's thrown nearly 200 innings over the last 2 years, and he's not allowing any runs. But he doesn't strike guys out. He's allowing a lot of walks. His WAR this year was negative. The advanced metrics are really bad. But his ERA is consistently below 3. Even though all of these numbers say that he's not that good, the guy doesn't allow runs. And he eats a lot of innings, which is exactly what the Royals could have hoped for from a guy like him. I'm happy to see Paredes be successful as he walks Schmidt. Again, they're not throwing strikes to him. Paredes was here during the dark ages. We picked him in the Rule 5 draft in the first offseason, spent 2.5 years here. Caro on the ground, should be a double play, and it is. That'll end the inning. Edgar Caro has not been very impressive this postseason. I think his defense, particularly throwing guys out at second base, guys who are stealing his throws, haven't been that good. And then offensively, he's had some big at-bats and hasn't given us really anything. Sean Rose, that one is ripped by Schneemann for a single into left. We're going to try to be smart with Wisniewski, and I think by being smart would be taking him out now. I think he's pitched a good game, 5 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs. He will not get the win because our offense is a bunch of trolls. So hopefully we can, come back a little bit, give him the no decision. Coming out of the bullpen will be the righty Edwin Uceta. His first outing to the postseason, finished 7-8, 3.38 ERA, 1.02 WHIP. A little bit up and down throughout the course of the year, but overall really solid. Exactly what we could have asked for signing him in free agency. Didn't allow base runners. WHIP was barely above 1. Westberg, Hermod earlier, on the ground. Schneemann to Julks, to Schmidt. Oh, it's off the mark. Look at Julks trying to raw dog it. He has to get stylish at second base, and because of that, it's a throwing error. If he decided to just be simple, we could have ended the inning. He'll get a chance to redeem himself, and luckily, he isn't going for style points as he throws the runner out at first. 2-1 will go into the top of the 7th. Pitching change for the Royals. Outstanding outing from Cody Bradford. Gregory Santos is on the bump. He got the loss in Game 1. He allowed the run off of the wild pitch in the 7th inning of the first game. We'll see if we can maybe get another run or more, hopefully, here in the 7th inning of this game. Cam Smith on the ground. Nice play at second. Nico Horner for the first out of the inning. That one is in time. Daniel Schneemann gets a hold of this one into right field, and that one goes off the wall. Schneemann into second base. He will stroll in with a double, and the White Sox have a runner aboard with one away. This could be our chance to get ourselves back into the game. Even just getting the one run would do us a lot. That one gets away. Another wild pitch from Santos. And we will move Schneemann up to third. Given the wild pitch lost the Royals the game in Game 1, you'd think Santos would have really made a concerted effort to try to avoid that. Myers hits this ball high into the air in center, and that should be plenty of room to tag up Schneemann. The play at the plate, there certainly will not be one. The throw is not even close. A sacrifice fly, successful at bat for Dane Myers, 2-1. They're going to take Santos out of the game, replace him with Trevor Stephan through a scoreless 9th inning in Game 1 of this series. We'll see what he'll do here for Kansas City as he'll face off against Oswaldo Escobedo. Still hitless so far in this postseason series. Count is even 2-2. Waldo on the ground to second. He's been disappointing so far against the Royals. A guy who had a breakout season for us, the best year of his career. Went up a couple rating points. Hasn't been very good so far. Bottom 7, Jojo Romero is out of the pen for the White Sox. Edwin Uceta ends up not staying in the game very long. I would have kept him in, but the Royals had multiple lefties up, so I wanted to get the lefty-on-lefty matchup. Here's Gavin Cross, for instance. Grounder to third. Smith makes the play. 1-2-3 for Jojo Romero. So far, the pitching has only allowed 3 runs in this series. They've done really well, but the offense has only scored 3 runs as we move into the 8th. Brandon Williamson in for Kansas City, and we're going to make a big decision. Barney Wagner, who's currently nursing a flexor strain, is going to come in off the bench to replace Braden Montgomery. That's a ball. We're not going to keep Wagner in the game defensively. This will be his only at-bat, and if he reaches base, we will pinch run him. I do not want him to stay in the game, but I want him at the plate because he's a damn good hitter. He's not even needing to swing the bat. This is working out really well. 3-1, Wagner looking for the walk, and he gets it. Barney Wagner did not have to give any effort there. That's perfect. His presence, his aura, is all that was needed to give us a base runner. Brian Ramos will again come off the bench as a pinch runner to replace him. Top of the order's up with nobody out in the tying run, who happens to be pretty fast at first base. Crawford hits this ball well into left field. Not well enough. It's caught by Lerma. Okay, well, there's just one out. We've still got 2 more opportunities. We're going to get Shane Schmidt up in this inning unless Corey Julks puts the ball on the ground. Please don't. Okay, good. Should not have swung at that pitch. Flies out to left, caught by Lerma. At the very least, though, we get Shane Schmidt, who feels like the most dangerous hitter on the team. Even if Kyle Teel is a little better throughout the course of the year, Edgar Carroll obviously has that proven track record. But with how Shane Schmidt is playing through the regular season and the postseason, and sure enough, he delivers a single into center. We're going to send Ramos. The throw from Cross, not in time. Gutsy decision to send the runner, but it pays off. A base hit for Schmidt, who has lived on base through the first 2 games against the Royals. I thought about pinch running for him. He's not the tying run, so I'm not going to. Because if this game goes long, we are certainly going to need him. And now we get Edgar Carroll up in a big spot. I said it in his last at-bat. He has not given us enough in high-leverage at-bats so far in this series against the Royals. Well, now it's the biggest one yet. He can make up for his mistakes with a big hit here. Base hit ties it. Extra base hit gives us the lead. Home run leads to a parade in the south side. The 1-2 with 2 on, 2 away. Fouled it off. Okay, way to protect. Keep the at-bat going. Give Brandon Williamson a battle. A couple of former All-Stars facing off against each other. One of the best relievers in the league. One of the best catchers. That one gets away. Another wild pitch. Everybody's going to stay. We probably could have moved Schmidt up to second, but he's slow. Maybe we should have put a pinch runner in there. I think it would have been too risky to try to send Ramos. I know he scored off the wild pitch in the last game, but I don't think he would have had enough time. I think he would have been out. 2-2 up the middle. Bobby Witt makes the play. Flips it to second in time. And the White Sox leave 2 runners on base. Another disappointing at bat from Edgar Carroll. We'll go bottom 8. Roger Lerma, 3-1. That one gets away from Edgar Carroll. It's a ball. It's a walk anyway, so it doesn't really matter. We were only going to keep Romero in for that one batter because Lerma was a lefty. No matter what happened, we would have taken him out after that. He'll be replaced by Tony Santillan, who we picked up off of the streets in April. He was awesome. 2.74 ERA, 1.14 whip. We clearly never should have gotten rid of him at the beginning of the offseason last year, but at least we corrected our mistake. Runner goes for second. That was a good throw by Carroll. A really good throw. But Lerma is safe. Big opportunity for Bobby Witt to potentially add to the lead. But remember, Tony Santillan's a great clutch pitcher. This is the nature of his game. He gets Witt fooled on the low fastball. We haven't seen many strikeouts today, so it's good to get that one. Sean Rose now up for the Royals. Behind in the count, 1-2. That one is flown into the air in center. Smith is after it, and he will make the catch. All right, this is it. 2-1 going into the top of the 9th inning. Can we hold the Royals off? Potentially try to tie or take the lead, put ourselves in a position to get the sweep, or are we going to a Game 3? Miguel Lozano is in for the save for Kansas City, 36-39 in save ops. Interestingly, Bruno Merced has more blown saves, and he was made the closer like 3 weeks ago. Cam Smith up the middle, what a scoop! Wow, that's a big play by Lozano. We could have had the tying run on base with nobody out. Now it gets a lot more challenging. Schneemann goes down looking. The fastball clocks in at 100. That one could have been called ball 4. It was close, but he doesn't get the call, and it comes down to Dean Myers. 1-2. Myers bloops it into right field, and we are headed to a do-or-die Game 3. White Sox win the first 2-1. Royals win the second 2-1. Our offense let us down again, but unlike the first game, we were not able to pull it off. We fall a little bit short. I was trying to come up with something witty there. I couldn't. Anyway, 4 hits, 3 walks, not good enough. Shane Schmidt reached base 3 times. Nobody else showed up at the plate. I thought Wisniewski pitched pretty well. He was not the problem. The bullpen was outstanding again. The bullpen is just unbelievable. I mean, they're pitching out of their minds. They're not letting anybody on base. So we split the first 2 games against the Royals. Only 3 runs from each team. I feel like every time we've played against the Royals this year, every game is low scoring and then one is super high scoring. Not just the 15-10 game, but throughout the year. Barney Wagner is fully healthy, thank goodness. We were going to play him anyway because it's an elimination game, and my golly, Miss Molly, we need him out there. Noah Schultz will get the start. I think I trust Schultz more than anybody in the rotation right now, and that includes Framber Valdez. Schultz struggled last year, but he was really good in the postseason. He did not allow a run until Game 7 of the World Series when he allowed the 2-run homer to Bryce Harper, which single-handedly lost us the game. But otherwise, he was really good. He's had a really solid regular season, and he's been awesome down the stretch. Against the Yankees in a must-win game. 7 innings, guess how many base runners he let up? 2. 1 hit, 1 walk, that's it. 3 days rest, game 162, our season's on the line, 7 shutty. He did allow 6 hits, but no runs scored. Again, he's going off of 3 days rest, which is not a lot. He's shown that he can do it because he just did it. But can he do it again in back-to-back outings in an elimination playoff game? That's a little bit more daunting of a task, but I believe in him. He's had a really good stretch. He's pitching some of the best baseball of his career. He was one of the better pitchers in the American League this year. It feels like he is trending towards becoming the ace whenever Framber Valdez leaves, whether that's this offseason or if we re-sign him. At some point, Noah Schultz is going to be the ace of the staff. Long story short. He's played like an ace as of recent, and he's got an opportunity to really stake his claim. Before we continue, don't get mad, but I'm saving Game 3 for the next episode. I know last time around I said if this series goes a full 3 games, they're all going to be in the same episode. We're going to have a triple header, yada, yada, yada. And when I said it, I meant it. But I mentioned this a couple days ago in the Browns episode. I'm traveling in a couple of weeks. I'm going to be gone for a few days. And it would make my life a whole lot easier to split it into 2 videos here instead of 1. Plus, it gives you guys a cliffhanger, which you guys know I like to do. I know one of the goals of this series has been to make the postseasons go by a lot quicker. I know I have not done a good job of that, but I promise I will if we win Game 3 or whenever we're back in the postseason. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new and ready for Game 3. Peace out.